right, today we're at the Jim's Custom Volkswagen down here in Columbiana County. I'm Rick Guerrero along with
Greg Roten.
This is the 25th anniversary of this show.
25 years of bugs, buses, Porsches, all classic. This is my type of show because I have two bugs as you've seen on Street Scene Plus. I like a little of everything and got American cars, but this is it. And you know what? I'm laughing. The first year we did this, I drug him, kicking and screaming, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Who suggested to come out this year?
No, this is it.
Him.
It's so much fun. Now, these guys are so much fun to be around. Anything goes here, you know. And plus, there's no rain. Not a cloud in the sky today.
As you've watched, at least this year, you'll probably see this in reruns for years to come. We've been rained out 3 times, probably a record for this show.
Yeah.
And finally, we had to come down here. We have our 3-day marathon of coming up shows here.
How about last year? We didn't get rained out at all.
Not once.
Last year we had 8, 9, 10 shows, episodes, and not a rain out. You know what? I'm tired of seeing you next to me. Let's go inside and check it out.
Let's check it out. Okay.
With me, I have Jim Papania. Jim is the owner of Jim's Custom VWs here in Columbiana County.
Yes, I am.
How's it going?
Good, real good.
Boy, what a perfect day today.
Oh, great.
No rain. Look at this. Not a cloud in the sky, Jim. Oh, perfect.
The God was with us today.
Oh, I'll tell you, all the rain we've been having lately, it's just, it's amazing. You guys got very lucky. The 25th anniversary.
Yep, 25 years. Amazing. I can't believe it's been this long.
How'd you start the show?
When I had the business there in Troy, who had German Air Sucker Society, it was a magazine. He did an interview on my shop at the time, and you know, he had the magazine, and I had the place to put the show on, and we got together and said, let's put a show on. And then he started, you know, he did a lot of the promotion for like the first 10 years or something like that. And then he got, you know, switched careers, but yeah, he was one, me and him was the one that got started, yeah.
Right. So what do you do here at your place? You do everything on Volkswagens?
We don't get into any body work, but yeah, we do all the mechanical and motors, transmissions, and all the machine work, and sell all the parts around the country, yeah.
I see you have some like dune buggy parts in there, bodies in there and everything.
Correct.
Engines, I see you have complete engines.
Oh yeah, we sell complete engines, turnkey, you know, whatever, or help the customer do their own, you know, whichever way they want to do it.
Do you build engines here?
Oh yeah.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, we do all the machine work, build the engines, yeah.
Pretty nice. You got a nice setup here.
Thank you.
What a great day.
I'm really happy you guys showed up here again.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys do an excellent
job.
job. Yeah, 3 years ago.
They look any younger or older?
Be right there. Yeah.
Okay. Do I look any younger? Or what, you know?
Yeah, we all look the same.
Yeah, we don't change at all. That's our Italian blood.
Yeah, that's Italian blood.
That's Sicilian blood we
right.
got, huh? Jim, what a great turnout. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming out. I mean, it's, you know, if it wasn't for all the people just coming out, that's what makes the show.
What a nice day today. What an amazing show you got here.
Yes, we got a break from the rain.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Jim. Boy, it's much rain. Our first 3 shows this year were rained out. So
we're very fortunate.
Yes. Well, they were starting to pave the road out in front of here this morning.
Oh,
they were going to try finish it all today, and luckily the plant broke down, so they quit.
Oh, good. So you guys located what? Route 7?
Route 7,
Columbiana.
219, State Route 7, Columbiana, Ohio.
So if you need Volkswagen parts,
Right, come down and see us, yeah.
we're standing in front of a beautiful 71 Carmen Ghia, Volkswagen Carmen Ghia. Kelly Wilson from Westerville, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
This thing. This is really nice. I seen you coming in. I go, that is really, really a pretty car. Pretty
Thank you.
color. What color is it?
Kelly Green.
Ah.
Yeah, and I love her. She's pretty faithful. I drive her all the time. I drive her on the road all the time. You know,
That's what it's all about, having
Yes.
fun with them, you know?
Uh-huh.
And how long you had it, Kelly?
I've had her about 9 years. I've redone the interior. As you can see, the carpet and the interior is all white. They fought me on the white, and I'm kind of finding out why.
Why? Because of the...
Because of blue jeans and anything
It'll
rubs
take,
against
yeah.
it.
Put a little cover on it or something, that's all.
Yeah. The engine was rebuilt a couple of years ago by Mark Garrett in Columbus. Mark does a lot of custom work, so he's a good man to talk to. I don't usually drive her this far. This is probably the furthest I've ever driven
How
her.
far of a ride is that?
160 miles. About 2 hours and 40 minutes is what I made it in, and only made one turn wrong. So, but yeah,
You didn't have a GPS in this?
right
No
here,
GPS. Oh, yeah.
right here.
I'm lost without my GPS.
Oh
I'll tell
God,
you.
I'd have never made it out here. No, she's sweet.
So how'd you find out about Jim's show here?
I joined a Fresh Air group, and
What's the Fresh Air Group? Is that all about Volkswagen?
there's a Volkswagen club that's here, and I joined them and found out about Jim's, and it sounded like fun, and I like to do things on the weekend, and the weather's gorgeous. It's going to be a hot one today.
Oh, it's going to be a hot one.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on the grass, so it's not going to be
Yes,
too
it's
bad.
not on asphalt.
Yeah, asphalt, you're talking 20, 30 degrees more. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What a beautiful car, and it's Kelly Green.
Yes, it is.
Your Irish background, huh?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good, Kelly. Thank you very much. The 71 Carmen Ghia, I love it.
Yes.
1600 horsepower, 1600 engine in it, and
Yes.
all rebuilt, and looks good. Have
Thank
fun.
you.
Hopefully you can start it when you leave here.
Well, me too. Thanks.
She had trouble starting it. The starter's not working.
I think I can find a couple men out here that can help me push it.
With me, I have Albert Howes. Albert is from what, Cranberry Township over in PA near Pittsburgh area
Yes,
there?
yes.
And it just we start talking to him, pretty interesting. Albert has a what, 59 original Herbie.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the original Herbie film cars. It was car number 6 from the Love Bug. It's one of 4 remaining cars from the first film that still exist. It's an original. I still have the original Disney title for the car from California and Disney Studios name. It was formerly part of the Movie World Cars of the Stars Museum in Buena Park, California, and the famous Harris Collection in Reno, Nevada.
Wow. And you bought this car how many years ago?
We've had it since 1996, so about 23, 24 years.
Who's you or your?
My family.
Your
My
family.
dad and I were both
Okay.
into cars.
Boy, that's really neat. Just back in '96, buy it. And how much it cost you then, if you don't mind me asking?
We paid $16,000 for the car.
Wow. And let me ask you another question. How many? There's a bunch of Herbies, right? Original Herbies from the
Yes.
Disney movie. But this one's from the first film, right?
Yes. It
Is
was,
this one worth more than like from the second film or the third film, or?
well, a lot of people, the cars from the Love Bug, which was the first film, that was what started the whole collection with Herbie, or the craze with Herbie, I should
Right.
say. But that movie really captured the whole spirit of sports car racing in the 1960s.
Right.
So, you watch that, you see a lot of famous racetracks. You see Riverside Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Right, I saw that. Yeah.
So-
There's some pretty girls in that.
Yeah. So that was the cars from that movie, because it was the 60s, that whole free love,
Right.
whole atmosphere. Those cars, they just don't exist because they didn't have a lot for that movie, and they just afterwards they just don't exist anymore because they were throwaway cars to the studio.
Movie cars, they just used them and got rid of them.
Yeah, they were cheap cars to buy and didn't cost anything to own them. So
yours was in good shape and everything.
The car actually was rolled in the movie. The car was set up to be driven by remote control, and they were filming a scene where the car had to avoid going off a cliff, and some power lines jammed the signal to the car, and the car ended up rolling over the cliff.
Oh, geez.
So they did a quick repair on the car, and the same repair still exists today, 50 years later. It's all Bondo. You could stick a magnet
just did it real quick.
It just had to look good on film. It didn't have to look good up close. So it still has that original repair. And don't want to change it just because it adds to the originality.
So, Albert, you got like one of the first bugs, right? One of the first Herbies, right?
Yes.
Okay. And there's how many Herbie movies? I'm not a very good Volkswagen person or spokesperson for Volkswagen.
There were 5 feature films.
Okay.
There was a 5-part TV series, and there was a 2-hour TV movie.
Okay. Did you have any video of it being rolled or in the movie?
I don't have any footage of the car being rolled. But I have talked to one of the special effects guys that was on scene and actually remembered when it happened, because he was very surprised that the car still existed, because he remembered how bad it was.
Hey, Albert, thank you very much. This is really good. I'm fascinated by that. So
Thank you.
And good luck with it. Hold on to that baby. Huh? It's only going to go up and up and up. By the time you, how old are you? 30-something?
37.
By the time you get my age, that thing's probably going to be quite a bit of money. So that'll be your 401k one day.
Exactly.
You are watching Armstrong Street Scene.
You know, everybody wants fast sports cars, and I wanted a rolling lunchbox. So.
That's what this is too, huh?
That's the fun. The cars just bring us all together. We got people here from Pennsylvania. We meet at these things, and it's more about the people than it is the cars. But
This car was actually a taxi in Mexico City for over 10 years.
Up next, we have some great information from the Ohio State Patrol on tech tips. Let's talk about frames and suspensions. Is there a legal height or how close they can go to the road?
There's a minimum. It's got to be 4.5 inches off the ground. Ohio does have a bumper height law. That law is guided by the weight of the vehicle. So let's say a passenger car, for example, 22 inches is where the bumper has to be the maximum bumper height on that. And then again, I'd have to look at the specific wording of the law, but it's based on the vehicle's weight. Up to like 10,000 pounds, I believe the bumper could be 31 inches off the ground.
How about some of these trucks you see that are like you need a stepladder to get in them.
Yeah, typically when it goes over, from my understanding, that once you exceed that 10,000 pound weight,
Yeah.
then it doesn't apply.
Okay.
But very rarely, I mean, you do occasionally see somebody, you can't, but part of that law is you can't expose the fuel tank from a collision. So if you have a fuel tank in the back of that car that's, if somebody was to rear end you, then that's a violation. So you'd have to have some sort of bumper in place to prevent that from happening.
Okay. A lot of these modern cars now, a lot of them have nice sound systems and they're loud as heck, And Ohio has laws and ordinances in place to control sound levels that are permissible for vehicles. Or like mufflers required on all vehicles?
Yep, every vehicle that's operating in Ohio has to have a working muffler and exhaust system.
Okay. Everyone?
Everyone. You can't have open headers unless it was manufactured from the factory without one, but I haven't seen too many cars that,
Right.
I think everything has, always had a muffler.
How about those muffler bypasses and cutout and amplifying devices? Are
Can't have
permitted?
those either.
You can't have those?
Nope.
Because some of them are electronic and just
Discreetly,
Yeah.
yeah, do it, but no. And as far as the sound goes, if you read your Ohio Revised Code, it does give the counties and township governments the right to enact laws that they can have, what I want to say, sound levels measured by decibels. As far as us, we enforce the Ohio Revised Code, but doesn't give us the authority to cite somebody. We don't have decibel meters in a car where we can say, hey, this vehicle going 35 miles an hour is exceeding that. We don't have that capability.
Okay.
And I really don't know of a township or a county that does enforce, locally here, that does enforce sound. Well, we'll get involved in a sound issue is when you see somebody, like you said, it doesn't have a muffler,
Right.
they're running open headers, the car is extremely loud, you might see them dragging their exhaust system, and over the years I'm sure everybody's seen somebody with a
Oh, yeah.
muffler and a spark shooting out, and it's super loud. That's whenever, we get involved, it's a safety issue, it's could be a public nuisance, so that's when,
Okay.
they could be cited.
How about the audio sound systems? What is permissible?
The Ohio Revised Code, we don't enforce that. Now, some cities, for example, Youngstown, they do have a city ordinance that, prevents somebody from blaring a stereo system. And I don't know the full details of that law, but I believe it's measured by feet. If they're so many feet away from that car, an officer, and they can hear it clearly, then that would be a violation of that city ordinance. But as far as the state patrol enforcing sound ordinances, we don't do that.
With me, we're going back in time with Jerry Young here in his, what is it, 70?
65.
65 Volkswagen 11-window Deluxe. Is
Yep.
that what it's called? 11
Correct.
windows?
Correct.
Jerry, you don't look old enough to have this van, okay? I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I'm 66 right now, and this is the era I grew up with, and all the love, peace, and all that stuff, and rock and roll, and the hippies and all that. But how old are you?
I'm 38. Just always wanted, everybody wants fast sports cars, and I wanted a rolling lunchbox. So.
That's what this is, too, huh? You a Grateful Dead fan?
Yes, I am.
I always tell everybody I can't hear because I've seen too many Grateful Dead concerts growing up. You should have seen when you see the Grateful Dead, their speaker system was like, oh my God,
Wall of sound, yeah.
wall of sound, and they would play forever. Like, so is this a stock color?
No, it's not. It was a custom color.
Okay.
My friend that had done the paint and body work and the initial restoration had done back in 1994, 95.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely not it is not a stock one.
So we're talking what, 11 windows here?
11 windows.
Okay, and that makes it a deluxe.
Well, no, it just has the deluxe trim package on it.
Oh, okay. So
Without the trim, it would be just a combi van.
Okay.
So.
Good. And how did you acquire this?
I got it when a local physician was selling his collection. He was moving out of town, and I'd actually known this car. A friend of mine had done the original restoration, and then another guy that I went to high school with had bought it off of him and did the stereo work and whatnot. And then when he lives overseas and his parents moved, I caught wind and heard that their collection of Volkswagens were going up for sale, and I moved pretty quick because I'd always wanted this car. So
this car's got a good story behind it, doesn't it? Like some guys living in it.
Oh yeah. When my friend found it, it was on the west side of Warren. 3 guys were living in it. It was all white. The windows they had them painted black, and 3 guys were living in it. Had died, and my buddy that originally did the car and owned it, he went up to him and just asked them if they were interested in selling it. And when they did, they were like, oh yeah, because we don't have insurance on it and the cops are hassling us. So he scooped it up for a really good price, and it was a solid van because it was from out west. And then it was his first van he had done. He had done some other ones. He had a Carmen, his dad had a Carmageddon. He had done some bugs, but this was his first bus. And he did a really nice job on it. And he and I still work on it to this day, and it's kind of made full circle. So it's nice also knowing the story behind the vehicle.
Sure it is. That's what makes it,
Exactly.
Hey, let's go back here and look at the engine here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What I'm asking, is this considered a barn door?
Yes, that's correct.
In
Yep.
what years did these barn doors come on?
Well, the true barn doors were back from the early 50s and very early 60s modeled vans. So the original barn door would have been the same width as the engine compartment, went straight up.
Oh, so it was a lot
Yeah,
bigger.
it was
Okay.
narrower, and then you had a spare in here. You would have had a slot for a spare tire in the original barn doors.
Okay.
This allowed you to put the, as far as storing your spare behind the front seat, and this gave you more cargo space for hauling. But yeah.
So what are we sporting under this small barn door?
Well, this is a Bugs. It's a 1600cc dual port that's been bored out to a 1776. It's running dual Cadron carburetors, and it does actually keep up with current highway speeds. So it's a little more efficient than the true what would have been in this, where I would have been lucky to get 50 miles an hour as top speed. This one I could get, well over the speed limit in this.
With me, I have Tom and Bruce Main from Akron, Ohio. You guys drove this all the way in, huh?
Yep, we trailered it, but yeah.
This is nice. This is very nice. Tell me what it is. It's what? A 70 Myers Mannix.
Yeah, it's an original Myers Minx dune buggy body.
Okay.
And then we built a tube chassis for it and put everything else in. It was pretty one-off custom. But the body is an original 70 Myers Minx.
You guys did a nice job on it. Tell me what it was like when you bought it.
Oh, It was pretty rough. I bought it for $1,000. The guy brought it, had a headlight falling off, and it was green, lime green. But just been a process of restoring it.
So it's called what? A Myers? I'm not familiar with it.
Myers Minx. Bruce Myers was the originator of
Minx.
the Doom Buggy. Yes.
Minx, okay.
He signed the
he signed
the
that.
Gates cluster up there.
We met him in Carlisle, and he's quite old now. I think he's like 86, but.
So is this body style right here? That's all stock? You didn't do anything?
It's completely stock. The only thing we did was add all the components in the roll cage, but the body is just the way he made it. The side pods were original Minx side pods, and the rest is,
It's pretty sharp. I've never seen one of these before.
Yeah, we wanted to be more of a street rod than a Doom Buggy. Everybody has a Doom Buggy, and we're like into street rods, so.
Yeah, that's really nice. Let's talk about the engine. That's a pretty impressive thing here. What do you got going on there?
It's just a 2275 Volkswagen engine. It's got dual 48 IDA Webers. That's about it.
So it'd be what, a 70?
I don't.
Oh, the motor?
Yeah.
The block would have been original 70.
Okay, that's original.
But everything else is aftermarket. Jim did it here at the VW place. He did all the motor work and transmission work on it.
Okay. You kind of need a rear camera on here, so with those pipes.
Yeah.
Or a warning sign, somebody don't walk into
We
it.
have wheelie bars on it, but we're going to change the exhaust stuff. We chose to leave them off. We're trying to make it more modernized. But
How pretty this is. What color is it?
oh, that's a mix. I mixed that color of blue. I've been painting cars blue for all my life, and this was like the final mix. It's my favorite color, so.
You gotta give it a name anyway.
No, there's no name for it. It's just my blue. It's like, yeah.
That's nice. It's really nice job. Really nice job. Tell me what you got going on here. You got NOS in here and everything?
Yeah, it has a little bit of everything in there. Nitrous, air ride. That's the air tank for the air ride, and that's all the big red valves. It has nitrous purge back here, and an MSD ignition, and that's all fuel monitor system.
So you kick on that nitrous. This thing, is it gonna
horsepower?
Is it gonna lift?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
It doesn't.
No?
No, it doesn't.
It hooks up and goes.
So how many horsepower are we talking here?
250.
And this little thing? Mm-hmm. And it probably weighs what, 1,000 pounds?
1,500 pounds.
1,500. Wow. That's nice. How about the interior? What do we got going on here?
Oh, they're all custom seats. We had them all upholstered with leather and ostrich.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I
then-
didn't say that, so that's
And then we painted the inside the same gray to match that.
very nice. You can tell you're a paint man with the color combos and everything. Looks good. Roll bar, that come with it?
And I handmade all that. I made all the roll bar and the tube chassis.
This is a father-son thing, right?
Yeah.
You guys spent, what, 5 years on it?
5 years.
That's fun. That's good. It's good to do this with
Good
Dad.
time, yeah.
We're working on another car now. We're working on a regular bug.
Good. This is something that, like, someone offers you a price for. There's no price on it. It's priceless. It's something like one of these days we're going to be gone, you know.
Yeah.
You're going to be gone, and my son's going to say, how old are you?
I'm 34.
Oh, gosh, you can have this forever. What a special piece this is, you know.
Yeah.
Very special.
Yeah, well, we enjoy it.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's the fun. The cars just bring us all together. We got people here from Pennsylvania. We meet at these things, and it's more about the people than it is the cars.
Sure.
But aluminum gas tank, everything's made aluminum. It's either aluminum or stainless steel, but everything's pretty much one off.
You got this thing laid out. You know that? My God, this is really a nice piece. It's I walked by it before, and then Greg said, my producer, he goes, we got to do this car. I said, okay. And once I got up on it and looked at it, I go, wow.
Well, we had it done, like I said, it's been in a trailer for 6 years. It was done in 2009, and then we let it sit. You know, life goes on. It just sat in the trailer, and nobody cared about it. And we thought it's time to get it out again. So.
With me, I have Tori Alonso from Lake Latonka, Pennsylvania, up around where I live at in Hermitage.
That's
Not
it.
about 20 minutes from there. Nice area. That's a beautiful area.
It
with
is.
his 92 Volkswagen. A very, very, we'll say, even another very unusual Volkswagen.
It is. It's probably the only one here today. It's this car was actually a taxi in Mexico City for over 10 years. These cars were actually outlawed by the government in Mexico City, and the last of the taxi licenses for these cars expired in 2012.
Why were they outlawed?
So a couple of reasons. They had a really bad pollution problem in Mexico City, unfortunately, and there were a lot of these things running around. I think at the height of these in the mid 90s, there were around 100,000 cars.
100,000. They were all taxis.
They were all Beetle taxis. Yep. And they were kind of contributing to the pollution problem. And then secondly, they were deemed unsafe by the government because people were getting kidnapped and robbed in the back of these taxis.
Well, how'd that happen?
Basically, a lot of times these drivers were in cahoots with someone that would get in the car and rob them. And since there's only 2 doors on this car,
So the taxi driver itself was in cahoots with them.
typically they were in on it, unfortunately. And a lot of times what would happen is they would lock this door and people wouldn't be able to get out because obviously there's only 2 doors.
Right.
So the government decided to outlaw the 2-door taxis in favor of 4-door taxis. And when they did that, all of these licenses expired. And the government crushed all of these cars.
So they crushed about 100,000 of them.
It probably more than that because there were, over the years there were more than 100,000, on the roads any given year. But what they ended up doing was giving the cab drivers an option to keep the car and use it as civilian use, but all the taxi stuff had to come off, and the car had to be repainted. And then or if they chose to sell it back to the government, they would give them $1,000 towards a new Nissan Suru.
That's what they're using.
Which
they're
had
using
4
now.
doors, and if you go down there now, that's all you see. So,
So this is original color and everything. This
original
is just
everything.
the way it was.
It's just the way it was in Mexico City when it was being used as a taxi. If you look inside, it still has a taxi meter that reads in pesos. It's got a little blue change box on top with pesos and everything still in it. This little sign on the windshield with the clips on it, you could just flip it around and it would say Libre, meaning available, or Occupado, which means it's occupied, obviously.
I don't know my Spanish. So.
I learned a lot with this process, that's for sure. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So tell me, how did you get it?
So I have some friends in Mexico, and I've been wanting one of these cars for a long time. I was on a Samba thread on the website where they were talking about what was going on with these cars down there, and I basically just wanted to save one and see if I could do it, if it was possible. And it was probably a 1.5 to 2 year process to locate the car. I found a lot of them, but they were just junk. They were in really, really bad shape. Believe it or not,
Taxi cabs, they just beat them up.
They do. They really do. I mean, if you go to New York City, it would be like riding in a Crown Vic in New York City.
Right.
They've probably got 300,000 miles on it. So that was the real challenge, was finding a car that was decent enough and solid enough to make the trek to the border. And I actually had to get a Mexican national to cross the car across the border because American citizens can't drive these cars with Mexican plates across the border.
Did you tow it? Did you tow it to the border?
It actually made it under its own power. I have a friend who had a Volkswagen shop in Mexico City, and I paid him to tune the car up, go through it mechanically, and the car, I haven't touched the car since then. It was a good mechanic. He did a good job.
Good mechanic and a good cruise, too. How far was that?
It was about a 14-hour trip.
From Mexico City to the border.
From Mexico City to the border in Texas, and you have to break that trip up over a couple days because if you travel at night, it's a pretty dangerous journey.
How about when you hit the border? What they do? They just let you through, or what? Let the guy through?
Yeah, they just basically let the guy through. Yep. Yep.
So you got really lucky with this then.
I did. Yep. And now, of course, the car's over 25 years old, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
But typically, there's a rule that you can't import anything under 25 years.
How long have you owned it?
I probably owned it 3 or 4 years now. Most of the time, it stays in a museum over in Hershey, Pennsylvania, just so I can share it with people. But today, I decided to bring it out. And
I go to
share it
Hershey
with you
every
guys.
fall.
Oh, cool.
Fall
you might
fall
see
meet
it there on display.
Yeah, maybe I'll look for it next time we go this October. This is a really neat story here, Troy.
thank
is
you.
it worth is it worth a lot more being like this, or?
I don't know. I mean, there's a rare element to it, seeing as it's the only real taxi I'm aware of that's from Mexico City that's in the country. So I mean, I guess it's worth what a collector will pay. I've turned down some offers for the car from people that want it just because they don't want to have to do the legwork, and because there's just not many left down there even to get.
Is there any more of these in the country you know of?
This is the only one I'm aware of. There's a couple that have been painted like a taxi, but this is the only veteran taxi that I know of that still has all the equipment and everything on it. So
1992 Volkswagen taxi, Mexican taxi.
Yep, that's it.
So, thanks for sharing it with us. What a beauty.
Thanks.
What a beauty. It's so unusual, you know.
Well, thanks. I'm happy to bring it out and share it with all the
Did you drive it
Volkswagen
here?
people here. I did. Yeah, I don't trailer my cars. I drive it. So yeah.
I bet you get the looks though, don't you?
I did. I had a couple people trying to hail me down.
'25th anniversary of Jim's German Jubilee. What
Jubilee.
a great day today, huh?
Blue skies.
Yeah.
A ton. This place is packed.
Yeah.
Packed with bugs, buses. I'm in my heaven. So
How about the skydivers tonight, huh?
skydivers. Yeah, what'd you think about that?
Uh-huh.
2 skydivers. I don't know how they do it.
I don't either. That was pretty neat. It was a little bit windy out, but they landed perfectly where they were supposed to land.
Unbelievable.
I love these cars out here. You know,
Yeah.
it's just so much fun. So much fun.
Like Rick always said, anything goes with these VWs. You can chop them, drop them. You can make a gasser out of these VWs,
Yeah.
and people are gonna love it. They just don't. No judging. Just a good time out here.
It's
That's it.
A lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Glad we're here. We were here 3 years ago. This is our second trip here, and hopefully another 3 years we'll come back down.
Maybe before that.
Oh, okay. Greg's a VW man. I'm not. I'm into everything, but I'm getting into VWs and Porsches and a lot more. You know, VWs are a lot cheaper than Porsches.
We'll ruin you.
Okay, sure.
Well, for Rick Guerrera, I'm Greg Roten. We'll see you down the road.